A. Adjectives describing free time activities. Rewarding. Gives you a lot of positive experiences. For example, doing voluntary work, helping charities. Fruitful. Produces good results. For example, collaborating or cooperating with someone in an activity. Lucrative. Makes a lot of money. For example, selling designer jewelry, writing apps for smartphones. Therapeutic. Makes you healthy in body and or mind. For example, gardening, yoga, jogging. Relaxing or calming. Reduces stress, gives a peaceful feeling. For example, reading, listening to music, meditation. Time-consuming. Takes a long time to do. For example, being president of a club, being a member of a committee. I enjoyed being secretary of the sports club, but it was very time-consuming. I had to give up 2 evenings a week to do it.
The conservation work I do is very rewarding. I feel I'm doing something good and useful.
Photography has been a lucrative pursuit for her. She often sells her pictures to magazines.
Painting is such a therapeutic activity. It makes me feel good and teaches me patience.
B. Informal expressions. How people spend their leisure.
Rob's a real culture vulture. He goes to the theatre regularly and to every art gallery he can find.
I'm a bit of a couch potato. I spend hours every day just watching TV.
Lucy loves playing tennis, but only as an amateur. She'd never want to be a professional.
Fatima's a bit of a dabbler. She takes up a hobby for a couple of weeks, then she gets bored and starts something different.
Matt does a lot of chores at the weekend. Things like shopping and mowing the lawn.
Laura's a shopaholic. She buys all sorts of things she doesn't need.
Joe is heavily into downhill skiing these days.
I went off football and I took up golf instead.
She locks herself away for hours in her room and listens to music.
He's totally hooked on motor racing these days.
What do you get up to at weekends, Mariana?
Do you have a hectic social life? I have a pretty full diary.
Mark is a keen participant in all the community activities in his town.
A. Dressing for work.
Many students, both male and female, would agree that they often look scruffy in their t-shirts and jeans. However, those who go into the world of business have to make a rapid transition and learn about dress codes in the workplace. Business attire needs to project a professional image, and clothing that reveals too much cleavage for women, or your back, your chest, or your midriff is not appropriate, even in a casual business setting. For women, see-through fabrics should be avoided, and skirts should not be too tight or too short, though nobody wants to look frumpy. For men, trousers should not be too tight or shirts too open. Women often need a good choice of outfits, and men find a good range of suits, ties, and casual trousers and jackets invaluable. Accessories, for example, jewellery, shoes and cufflinks, can also enhance the professional look. Some offices have dress-down days, often Fridays, when staff can wear more casual clothes. In other jobs, of course, people are required to wear uniforms or protective clothing, such as overalls and safety helmets.
B. Words and expressions about clothes.
Clothes can be described as revealing, skimpy, baggy, clingy, or chic. Sometimes an invitation to a more formal party will ask people to dress in smart casual clothes. To be dolled up, or dressed up, or done up to the nines means to be dressed in a very fashionable or very formal way. Some people choose to buy designer, label clothes, but most people prefer to buy clothes more cheaply on the high street. People who can afford to sometimes have clothes made to measure, but more often people buy their clothes off the peg or rack.
C. Being in fashion.
These jackets are all the rage.
The woman was dressed in the very latest fashion.
Dresses like this are the height of fashion.
The magazine has up-to-the-minute fashion articles.
The film has set a new trend for the silk top the star wore.
A trendsetter is a person whose style is followed by others.
High heels are on trend this year.
Large handbags are this year's must-have item.
If a fashion catches on, it becomes popular. If a trend catches on, it becomes popular.
A slave to fashion is someone who is strongly influenced by fashion.
Your new outfit really suits you.
D. Clothes in metaphors.
To speak off the cuff. To be hand in glove with someone. To do something on a shoestring. No frills. To put someone in a straitjacket. To draw a veil over something. To have something up your sleeve.
A. Home styles.
A squat is an empty building where people start living without the owner's permission. A hovel is a very small, dirty house or flat in a bad or run-down condition. Rented accommodation can be either furnished or unfurnished. A penthouse is a luxury flat at the top of a building. Council or social housing is rented accommodation provided by the state for people who have low incomes. A council estate is a large group of such housing. High-rise flats or tower blocks are flats in a tall, modern building with a lot of floors. A granny flat is a set of rooms for an elderly person connected to a relative's house.
B. Idioms and expressions relating to house and home.
Get on like a house on fire. Get on very well with someone. For example, happily, my mother-in-law and I have always got on like a house on fire. A household word or name, something or someone everyone knows. For example, Nike has become a household name. On the house, free of charge. For example, the restaurant owner offered us coffees on the house. Home truths. Information that is true but not pleasant or welcome. For example, it's time he was told some home truths about the way he's been behaving. Nothing to write home about. Nothing special. For example, the town is okay, but nothing to write home about. Hit home. Become fully understood or fully felt. For example, the difficulty of managing without a regular salary is hitting home now. Make yourself at home. Make yourself feel comfortable in someone else's home. For example, please just make yourself at home while I get dinner ready.
C. Idioms and metaphors relating to life.
Life in the fast lane. A way of life that is full of activity and excitement. For example, as a rock star, Joe lived life in the fast lane. Have the time of your life. Have a wonderful time. For example, Paula's having the time of her life in Canada. Get a new lease of life. become more energetic and active than before. For example, when Georgie moved jobs, she seemed to get a new lease of life. A dog's life. A very unhappy and difficult life. For example, Ryan had a dog's life in the army. Lead a sheltered life. Have a life that is protected from unpleasantness. Also lead a busy, quiet, normal, etc. life. For example, Kyoko has led a very sheltered life and may find it hard to adapt to the big city. Not. Be a matter of life and death. Not. Be very serious. If we miss the last train, it's not a matter of life and death. Take your life in your hands. Do something very dangerous. For example, you're taking your life in your hands if you cross the road here. Go to the zebra crossing. Breathe new life into. Bring new ideas and energy to something. When Orla joined the staff, she breathed new life into the school.
A. Nouns for social events.
Hi, Rebecca. How's life? Things have been really hectic on the social front here. It seems to be nothing but parties. Frankie and Joe had their housewarming last week, now that they've decorated and got all their furniture in. A lot of our friends seem to be getting married lately. Josh went to his friend Mick's stag party last weekend. They went to Spain for it. And next week, my old schoolmate Angela's having her hen night. It's fancy dress, too. I think I'll go as Cleopatra. The wedding's at the end of the month. I think the wedding party will include a lot of our year from school. That'll be nice. They're having the reception at the Royal Hotel. Very posh. The following week, Josh has got his annual company ball. It's a black tie affair. Meanwhile, I've got the launch party for my new book coming up next month, and I have the usual girls' night out with Amy and Izzy every few weeks. Oh, and there's a leaving do at the office next week. We're going to be exhausted by the end of the year. Hope to hear from you soon. Jess. Kiss.
B. Networking.
Contemporary business. Advice on networking. We interviewed some successful business people about networking. Here are some of their comments.
Exchange business cards. Do lunch with useful people. Don't be afraid to hobnob with the boss. Go for it.
Make sure you rub shoulders with the people who really matter. Every moment counts in networking.
Socialising is meeting people purely for pleasure, but networking is making contacts that are going to be useful to your business or career. So don't just leave it to chance. Plan your networking.
Try to be proactive in the workplace.
C. Expressions for social activity.
I don't like the people Chris hangs out with. I don't like the people Chris knocks around with.
I hope I'm not outstaying my welcome.
Jamie's a real party animal.
I hate it at my new job. Everyone's so cliquey.
It was good at the club last night. Pete Esterhouse was there with his crowd.
Lizzie and Rob are always together. Are they an item?
Joel isn't very happy because Molly stood him up last night.
A. Useful adjectives for describing works and performances.
That TV series is overrated.
The plot was so hackneyed.
The play was disjointed and difficult to follow.
The film Green Aliens from Mars was a bit far-fetched.
The play was a bit risque, and some religious leaders criticised it.
It was a gripping film from start to finish.
It was a harrowing documentary about war and refugee camps.
It's a moving story about a child whose mother dies.
What a truly memorable performance. What a truly unforgettable performance.
The ballerina's performance was understated.
The play was long and tedious.
That new stand-up comedian is hilarious.
B. Success and failure.
The audience clearly loved the play. The applause was deafening, so it's not surprising that it got glowing reviews.
The audience called for several encores after his concert.
She got a standing ovation as Juliet in Romeo and Juliet.
Her latest album has already won 3 awards.
Sam Dell won the award for Best Up-and-Coming Actor.
The critics generally agree that her new symphony is a masterpiece.
She has become typecast as a middle-aged mother in TV drama series.
His latest opera was panned by the critics, which is strange, since all his previous works have been universally lauded. His latest opera was slated by the critics, which is strange, since all his previous works have been universally lauded.
The play bombed in London's West End, although it had been really successful in New York.
The show was booed on the first night.
The new TV soap has turned out to be a total flop.
Novak was definitely miscast as the father in that film. He was very unconvincing.
C. Nouns relating to performing.
Megan did well in the audition and is now busy going to rehearsals for the play.
I liked her interpretation of the song Yesterday.
I prefer the original version by the Beatles. None of the covers are as good in my opinion.
The actor's portrayal of the mother in the film was very tender.